Before this video starts today, I just want to say thank you to our patrons, Nanani no Nora Paidrei. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. And let's go ahead and get today's video started. Hey guys, it's Beny. So back at another Card Fight Vanguard deck profile. So if you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and join the Patreon. Let's get this one started. Today we have Oracle Think Tank, Witch. So when Oracle Think Tank first revealed Witches as their card for V collection, I didn't think they would be good. And then last night when I was testing out Witches, I rode my Vanguard 3 times during the battle phase, got a total of 6 Protect Gifts, and killed my opponent all in that one turn. Due to the ability of one Grade 3 that was revealed because of Witches. Yeah, I immediately take back my statement about thinking Witches aren't good, because they are. I mean, weren't going to be good, because they are. So let's go ahead and get this one started, shall we? And you can see the bullshit that I'm capable of. First up, we have our starter in Witness Rabbit, or Whiteness Rabbit. Okay, we already know I'm biased with this card, because, like, I love the background of, like, the greenery here. We all know I love this moon. The rabbit looks cute as hell. I wish there was a whole deck based off of these that isn't restricted to Pale Moon. So, 6k base, 10k shield, grade 0 boost, auto, when it's rolled upon, draw a card, then if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 1 or greater, you get a quick switch ticket to your hand. Nothing special about it, standard start ability, you get a draw, you get a quick shield, but you can use it for discard fodder of your Witches that can be looped, because they're not once per turn for some reason. Or your PGs, which you have plenty of for some reason, because apparently you need more PGs in this deck. So, Witness Rabbit's pretty good. Get you that draw for top decking, and gets the quick shield that's literally going to be used as discard fodder and nothing else. So, that's our starter. Trigger-wise, we run 8 trigger. I mean, we run 8 crit, 4 draw PG. Okay, reason why I'm doing 4 draw PG instead of 8 crit, I mean, instead of 12 crit and one of them being crit sentinel, it is because I wanted to run Mist, because in the chance that you just don't see a lot of your protect givers, you kind of want that PG just in case. Because Witches don't... I mean, Witches do a decent amount, but you want the PG just in case. Like, if you want to run the 12 crit, because this deck is bullshit with 12 crit, you can do it, but I prefer the 4 draw PG. So 5k base, grade 0 boost, 0 shield, continue sentinel, you may have up to 4 sentinels in your deck, and auto guard circle. When placed, discard a card from your hand. One of yours cannot be hit until the end of battle. So just standard PG, nothing too special about it. We're going to see a lot of PG in this deck. You're going to get a lot of PGs in this deck. I remember last night when we were doing the test play, I had 11 hand cards. Guess what all of them were? PGs. There were 7 protect gifts, 4 of this thing. It was physically impossible for my opponent to kill me the next turn unless they had PG restrictors. Mist, amazing grade 0, especially in a PG based deck, 4 of. Then we have 8 crit and 4 psychic bird and 4 Nike. And then we have our 4 heal and spear magus. If you don't know why I don't run the heal guardians, it's because I don't like their 15k shield. The 20k is better, and they are very bad to my strategy. Like, they always hurt my juicing plays and taking counterblast plays. There's no reason to run them in my decks, or at least how I play, because of, like, the only benefit they would give me is just more power on my heals. But even then, like, I never really call heals in V and Premium. I always call heals in D though, but they're not in D. If you want to run Heal Guardians, do it. There's no problem running Heal Guardians in this deck. It's just if you play my style, you probably don't want Heal Guardians. So Spear Magus, still a good card, 4 copies. And then we have our grade 1s. 4 copies of Oracle Guardian Gemini. 8k base, 10k shield, grade 1 with boost. Act, rear guard. If you have 3 more cards in your damn zone, put this card to soul, countercharge 1. The only non-trigger, non-witch unit. The reason for this is because this deck has a sight counterblast problem, especially if you play it the way I did last night. You want the countercharger, 4 copies. There's a soul, you don't need it, but the countercharge you do. Sprout Witch Roro. Grade 1, boost, 10k shield, 8k base at 4 copies. Auto rear, when the attack it boosted hits a Vanguard, counterblast 1, shove to soul, draw a card. So, counterblast 1, you get a soul and you draw. It's an okay card, definitely. It's fine. Not something I love, but not something I hate either. And then auto soul, when your grade 3 or greater Vanguard, which in its card name is placed, soul blast 1, you may call this card to rear. So, a way to constantly fetch it out of soul, and adds on hit pressure if in case your opponent doesn't want to give you that draw. I like it. Can definitely save you out of certain situations, especially because draws can always be helpful, because you never know. Even in this deck, where literally you have like 7 PGs, you want at least 1 card to discard for them. So Robo is a pretty good card to have, as pressure. Granted, the counterblast is kind of meh, but it can also be called out of soul, so 4 copies. And then 4 copies of our last grade 1, and the grade 1 you want to both ride and call at all times. Citrin Witch Moo. 8k base, 10k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto when rolled upon by a witch... By unit with Witch in its card name, draw a card, and act rear guard, soul blast 1, and rest this unit. Look at top 5, choose up to 3 Witch cards from among them, reveal them, and choose one of the reveal cards, put it to your hand, shuffle your deck. If you do not reveal 3, you put this unit to soul. So, you do reveal 3 of them, but you only pick 1 of them. If you didn't reveal 3, the thing goes to soul, but you can still add something to hand, which is still pretty good. You get a hand card. She could refill her soul cost by just being a shove to soul, look at top 5 skill. And, you know, when it's rolled upon by a witch, it is just a free circle magus. So, I love this card. really good. Its art is amazing. Its skill is bullshit. 4 copies, because this is the sole reason why I was able to just keep riding and getting more protect gifts. Next up, we have 3 copies of Sea Blue Witch Nini. 9k base, 5k show, Great Tooth Intercept. Continues to soul you during your main phase if you have a Vanguard Witch and its card name gets +1 grade. Okay, this is mainly for Coco, despite the fact I literally didn't use Coco at all last night when I was doing my test playing. But, you know, if you have to be stuck on Coco, this is an okay card to be stuck on Coco with because at least it's a grade 3 in soul. And act rear guard, put it to soul. That's how you get into soul without having to ride it. Look at top 3 and you may put them at the top of the deck in any order. Okay, worst thing about this is you don't get to like send them to bottom. So like if there are 3 non-triggers at top, they just stay at top. But good news is you can stack your drive check with this. So if there are 3 non-triggers, 2 of them are going to hand, especially if you're at grade 3. So it's really nice grade 2 to use regardless of who you're on. And if you're on Coco, she has that little more benefit up to her. So a really good card that I suggest running at 3 of. Her art is also really cool. Next up, we have 4 copies of Cobalt Witch Poo Poo. 9k base, 5k show, Great Tooth Intercept, Auto Vanguard. When written on from a grade 1, discard a card from your hand, get a protect gift. So, go second, ride this, skill of your starter, get a quick show and a draw, swing, who cares, live to your next turn, which is physically possible, considering it's, I think, almost impossible for someone to kill you on grade 1, unless it's like something like Ezel level of bullshit, but even then, I don't think they can kill you with it. Get to your grade 2 turn, ride this, skill of this one, get you a draw, skill this, either discard the quick show or discard the thing you drew, get a protect gift. At grade 2. Cool. Nice way to set up your gifts really early. You can get Protect 2 if you really want to, but this deck needs Sentinels in hand. You're going to pick Protect 1 whether you want to or not. And Auto Rear, when it attacks, reveal 1 or more Sentinels from your hand. Point of that, and the good news is you can also combo that with the Draw PG, but you can also combo with the Crit Sentinel. I just choose to run the Draw PG because I want the Draw PG, and it gets +5k for each Sentinel revealed for the cost. So you reveal, if you did what I did, and get 7 Protect 1s in hand, and then 4 PGs, that is plus 55. Pretty good number. Or this thing can hit like really big because this deck gets so many Sentinels and Protect Gifts so quickly to the point where like this thing in the early game, or like the earlier it is, yeah, it's not going to hit that big, but like you put it towards like the middle part of the game where you have a bunch of gifts before they start wrecking your hand, this thing swings for numbers. If this deck could restrict Sentinels of their own, oh great Scott, this deck would be bullshit. 4 copies. 4 copies of Jade Witch TT, our last grade 2. Grade 2, Intercept, 5k shield, 9k base. Auto, when it's discarded from your hand during your turn. This thing, or just like your skills of later grade 3s. If you have Vanguard Witch's card name Soul Blast 1, you may call it to rear. Okay, Soul Blasting, that's fine, and you get to call it to rear, okay. I mean, it's just a way to get free discard fodder. And Auto, when it's placed on guard circle, choose any number of your Sentinels from hand, discard them, and then she gets +20k until end of battle for each of those cards. So, she has no skill on rear guard, but she can get around the Sentinel restrictors, because there are a lot of Sentinel restrictors, because I was going to say, like, before we went to this card, this deck is basically really good at getting Sentinels, but they die to Sentinel restrictors. This thing is literally discard a Sentinel. For each one you discard, this thing gets +20 shield, so it's a 25k shield if you discard 1. If you did what I did, have, like, most of the time before that final turn, I had, like, 3 Protect Gifts at a time, or, like, 3 Sentinels, so you discard 3, this thing gets +60 shield, the thing's at 65k shield. You're in the 70s. Only Valkyrion can hit over this at this point, and like, only Valkyrion decks can hit over this at that point. TT is a really good card. 4 copies, amazing guarding power. The first skill is meh, but the second skill is great. And then we have 3 copies of our first grade 3, Scarlet Witch Coco. Grade 3, Twin Drive Protect Gift, 12k base. Auto Van when written from a grade 2, draw a card. And then active Vanguard once per turn, counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, grade 3. Draw 2, discard any number of cards with Witch in their card names from your hand, and get the same number of imaginary gift protects as the number of cards discarded. Okay, you run this if like you're going to need those Protect Gifts really early and you have no other choice to ride her. Because she's a good grade 3, she's an okay grade 3 to ride because, you know, she gets you that draw, so if you combo with her, you just get a lot of hand cards really quickly. And it's a counterblast 1 and Soul Blast to grade 3. You combine it with this, you can do this on first grade 3 turn, even if your opponent's at grade 2. You get the 2 hand cards, and you can discard any number. You don't have to discard anything, and you don't get any protectives, but it's a way if you want to use it, or you can just use it to get 2 hand cards. Either way, Coco's really good, gives you options, gives you possible a lot of protect gifts, or gives you at least 2 hand cards, and can make this thing swing for a bigger number if you just get a bunch of protect gifts. All around, Coco's really good. 3 copies. You won't want to sit on her, but she'll definitely be a good card just to have as an extra write-up. 3 copies of this deck's literal finisher, Wisteria Witch Zozo, 12k base, grade 3 twin jet protect gift, auto van, when it attacks reveal any number of imaginary gift protects from your hand, and 3 of your front row units get +5 for the turn for each card revealed. If 2 protects were revealed, 3 units get +10, so they have to be front row units, but it can also be herself, and auto van reveal when its attack hits a vanguard, counterboss 1 draw card. Okay, that's never going to come in handy, because you never want to counterboss more than you need to in this deck, and that draw is not going to, I mean that draw might be helpful, but if you do what I did last night, where you just ride a bunch of times, you swing with Zozo, I had 7 protect gifts revealed, plus 35 to front row. This thing was swinging for 47, and my front row rear guards were swinging for big numbers because I had seen like 2 triggers during that turn. Yeah, this deck has, I like how before I complained about like a lot of protect decks being not very aggressive, or like what I would call aggressive, or like where you can get multi-attacks or like extremely high numbers, or like the numbers of a force deck on Vanguard Circle. And then literally the week after I say that, Bushy proves me wrong by making Zozo a thing. I mean, not Zozo, but like making this deck a thing where because of the new Witch, you can hit numbers so well with this deck. Like, whoo, you need PGs to stop these things from hitting. Like Dauntless, I pity the person who has to fight this, because the numbers this deck can obtain as a protect deck, in my opinion, is absurd. And then we have our last unit and our last card in the deck, which is 4 copies of Beny-toit Witch Yoyo. There's actually a correct way to pronounce that, and Bushy was kind enough to give us that correct way, so I'm just going to quickly go all the way to Discord, find the correct way. Okay. Beny-toit Witch Yoyo. Grade 3, Twin Draft, Protect Gift, 12k base, Auto Vanguard Front Row or Front Row Rear Guard Circle. At the end of the battle, your Vanguard with Witch in its card name attack to grade 3 or greater if it is the first battle of that turn. Never mind, I made a horrible misplay with this deck. It is not named once per turn. It is, it is not loopable. It is definitely not loopable, and I made a misplay last night. So to my opponent, I am very sorry for that. I didn't read that part, but in my defense, they also didn't correct me. So to continue her skill, it's counterboss 1 and discard 2, choose up to 1 grade 3 with Witch in its card name from your hand, write it as stand. Okay, you get a Witch. You get protect markers. If it wasn't for the first battle of this turn, yes, that deck is actually broken, because I actually played it that way on accident. It is actually really broken. I mean, you could still, like, even Wisteria. Okay, now here's the thing. The way I played it is definitely a lot more different than the way it's supposed to be played, because obviously I played it wrong, but it still did a lot. Like, the only difference is this setup with Zozo happens a lot slower. But then again, like, my first grade 3 turn, I didn't even hit a Witch in my hand. So, like, even though the deck does it slower than I thought it did, it still gets a lot of gifts, and Zozo can still hit for a lot of power. Like, even without the extra riding, I still would have won. Witches didn't, the only thing that riding did was just more of a show-off play than anything else. Either way, really good grade 3, because it gets you a grade 3 restand, and auto, when it's wrote upon, you may either call it to rear guard or get imaginary gift protect. So, easy way to get gifts, easy way to call a card and get rear guards. Very good, get you multi-attack. There's no problem with this. I made the misplay with it, but either way, it's still really good. Like, they had to restrict the first battle, because it genuinely is bullshit if it's not first battle, and it gets you gifts, it gets you power, it gets you Vanguard attacks without losing drive checks. I mean, technically you're discarding 2, so you're losing a drive check, but then you're also getting a protect marker back most likely, so yeah, not really. You can combine it with Coco, you don't really want to combine it with Coco, you can combine it with Zozo though and just get a bunch of abilities off. Either way, Yoyo's a really good card. Even if it does something different than I thought it did, it's still really good. It gets you more, it gives you exactly what witches need. Like, I didn't think witches would still be good after the collection sets. They got a really good card. 4 copies. And then we have our protect gifts. We run 5 of each because you're just going to be discarding a bunch. I mean, in my tabletop version, I run 7 protect gifts because why would I not? So protect 1, when acquired, it goes to your hand. You may only place it on guard circle. Contains sentinel. When auto, when guard, when placed, discard card and add. Choose one of yours that cannot be hit done to battle. So standard PG. Nothing special about it. You do pick this more than Protect 2 because the deck requires you to reveal Sentinels from hand, and obviously you want to get those skills off, so you pick Protect 1 more. But if you want to pick Protect 2 because the deck can make Protect markers really easily, when acquired, put this on rear guard. This unit on it gets plus 5k power during both players' turns, and when it intercepts, it gets plus 10k shield. So your grade 2s are 15k shields. If you intercept with a grade 1 somehow, 20k shield, and it can stack. So if you have 2 of them on the same circle, plus 20 to the intercept and 10k power to the unit on base power. So that's honestly really good. Regardless, I think Protect 1 is just better for this deck. You get gifts, you get a lot of hand cards, your opponent doesn't push pass. And then finally, we have our Quick Shield, which is when one of your attacks is plus 5k for the battle. Nothing too special about it. You typically discard it for this thing, so, you know, you don't have to discard witches. You discard that and Tay so you can get multi-attack. You could also discard PGs because you're just going to get the PGs right back. And that's pretty much what the 5k does and doesn't do anything else. And that's the deck, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Honestly, I am definitely a lot less hyped about this thing now that I know what its real skill is because I did misplay with it a bunch. But either way, it's still a fun deck. Like, regardless, because for one turn I did it right, and then the turn where I did bullshit plays, that's where I did it wrong at. But either way, the deck is really fun. Get you a lot of protect gifts, get you hand cards. Definitely makes it a lot harder for your opponent to kill you, and you can hit really big numbers all around. This deck is really scary. It just requires a little bit more setup than I thought it did. But even then, it still does a lot. Like, honestly, witches are a lot better than I thought they were going to be after the set. Like, I loved the idea behind witches. I even tried doing Valkyrion versus witches just to see who would win protect gift spamming or force gift spamming, obviously, before this came out. And Valkyrion easily won because, like, Coco and Zozo could not keep up with the amount of power that Valkyrion could handle. But now Zozo gives them the ability to give it, like, a little extra rush and makes it easier for protect gifts to be made. So all around, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join the Patreon, join Discord, follow the Twitch. This deck is fun, so maybe you should try it out. And I'll see you on this one. Don't forget to stand up your vanguards.